on the G20 meeting, I'm joined by Paulo Velasco. He's a professor of international politics at Rio de Janeiro State University and joins us from Rio. Professor, so many hotspots and global conflicts around the world. Is there a sense of unity among G20 members when it comes to Ukraine, also to what's happening in Gaza?
Yeah, well, actually, the war is more divided now, and for Brazil, it's a very big challenge to be at the head of the group nowadays. It's a great opportunity for us to be in a leading position in the world, but it's not easy actually to think about a more united group in order to achieve any kind of consensus these days because of the problems we are facing in Gaza, in Ukraine, and there is a more divided world between North and South. Brazil has a very good capacity of bridging great consensus and dialogue between states, but it's not easy actually what we are seeing, what we are witnessing in the world, and it's a very, very big challenge for Brazil.
Israel, as you know, has slammed President Lula's controversial comments that have really caused a diplomatic uproar, especially between Israel and Brazil. He accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, comparing to what's happening there with Hitler and what he did during the Holocaust. I don't know. I mean, these comments are obviously controversial. How much do you think they will overshadow the discussions? The United States has already said it does not agree with what President Lula had to say.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't think it will overshadow the meeting of the foreign ministers these days in Rio, but it's a problem. For sure, it's a very controversial position of President Lula and goes against our traditions in diplomacy. Brazil always try to be in a balanced position between Israel and Palestine, and this kind of speech goes against that tradition. But I don't think actually it will overshadow the meeting. There are very important points to be discussed. Brazil has three priorities during his presidency at the G20. The first one is fighting against poverty and inequalities. The second one is promoting sustainable development. And the third one is pushing for a reform of the international organizations like the United Nations Security Council. So I think that Brazil will stress those three priorities instead of letting the speech of Lula, the idea of Lula about what's going on in Gaza to overshadow the meeting.
How would you define a successful summit in Rio?
Well, this is a very hard question. Well, I think that Brazil will try to, these days, in the next 2 days, will try to promote more dialogue between the foreign ministers in order to create more confidence between them. It's very important to go forward in order to establish more confidence-building measures between the G20 members, and that's why what Brazil is trying to do, not only in this meeting, but during the year we will hold more than 100 meetings for the G20, and we have the summit at the end of the year. So I think the idea of Brazil during his presidency is try to promote confidence-building measures in order to create a more stable world and try to push for peace, for instance, in Ukraine and Gaza. It's not easy, but that's what we're looking for during our presidency.
All right, we'll leave it there. Professor Paulo Velasco, thank you very much.